each, 500 mils, so it says a tablespoon per litre. I personally use a little bit less because I like it a bit thicker. And it's as easy as we're going to show you.
I'll be the microphone holder.
Ladies, I don't know, you all know Trump. Do you all know Trump? Trump. The president. Now, do you remember when he did this to the American flag? He hugged the flag on stage like a bit of a twit. Well, anyway, this is the magical butter machine, alright? Remember that. It says magical for a reason.
So I'm
holding.
Okay, so I prepared earlier, I did a little bit of grinding, but you don't have to because the butter machine does it all. But it's not easy to carry around if you're driving. You don't normally drive in one car. So here we go. You have 2 ounces. So when it's ground up, about an ounce per half a cup. An ounce per half a cup.
Sorry, sister.
So 2 ounces. 2 ounces.
We put 2 ounces in, but we usually put butter in.
Extreme. Most people could probably use a kilo, but if you need it for strong pain, strong sedation, I'd use double the amount. This is amazing on hemp as well. So we've done that. We do our kilo of honey.
You got it in? No, that's good.
Right, the magical butter machine. Write that down if there's one word.
Okay, so here we go with the honey in. It's like the simplest thing to do. It really is so simple. And this has made it magical. It really is a magic butter machine. But you can also do a lot of like your oils and you can do your cosmetics and things like that with this. It's an amazing tool. So, just for purposes, we've already actually prepared one, so I'm just going to give you like the basic. You do your kilos, you get everything in. And then, water.
So we have honey and water dribbling in.
And so that's about a tablespoon all up, but it says to use 2 tablespoons. If you want it really runny, you can, but I find it's a lot easier to do when it's a bit thicker. So here we go.
Smells beautiful, like in those Japanese shows. Looks very interesting. Yes.
Okay, so the cord.
The other one will be ready before we eat.
Yeah, we've already got one here I put on, so we'll be able to strain it and stuff as soon as we all learn how to make hemp milk.
I've got a friend who's had a magic bud sitting in a bit of honey for like 20 years. I'm waiting for them to crack the bottle.
That would be really nice.
Where are we going after this?
So you have several settings on the magic butter machine. I set this one at the first heat temperature, which is 130 degrees Fahrenheit. I do 1 hour. So it's as simple as non-temperature. Okay, so let's just pretend we're cooking this one.
Is it plugged in?
Yes.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. So temperature there's a no heat, there's 130, 160, 190. The higher you go, for honey you don't need it. You want to keep your lower cannabinoids, you don't want to burn it all out. Anyway, so then we go...
How much is it in centigrade?
Fahrenheit is 54 degrees Celsius. 54 degrees Celsius.
It's about half, is it, or something? I never know.
I can't, yeah, it's American and Australian, they don't mix. So, no, sorry, I shouldn't say that. But then we go, 1 hour is all we need. That is done. So let's learn how to make hemp milk. Do you want to come up and make hemp milk with us? Sure. That would be lovely.
Come on up, come on up.
Oh, by the way, I'd also like to say it's Mia's birthday today. Happy birthday, Mia!
Happy birthday and happy Mardigrass to everybody.
What's your name?
It's Kate.
Thank you, Francis. Everybody, this is Kate. I'm Mia.
Francis.
I'm sister.
Sister.
And these are the pretty lights.
Yes.
It goes with the feature. Especially on a dark room.
You do this in supermarkets.
We should be doing this at Woolworths, shouldn't we? Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
Okay. Alright, do you want to show us how to do this?
You're awesome.
Remember, in Celsius, decarboxylation is less than or close to 110 degrees Celsius, okay? Just mentioning that.
Okay, let's do this. You teach me. So what do I do?
It becomes cast.
That's already? Yes.
Say that again.
Hang on. So, I guess I'm going to be narrating, ladies, what's happening. So, it's like those Japanese cook shows. So, what's happening here, ladies?
Okay, so we've got the hemp seeds in
Oh.
this cup here.
Hemp seeds.
Organic Australia hemp seeds.
Yes.
Yeah, good quality.
These traces.
By the way, hemp seeds are better than hemp oil because they hold their nutritional value longer than the oil which is exposed.
And we've still got 3, 6 and 9 in that whereas we go to now.
All right.
So it's as simple as water and hemp seeds. For flavour later you can add your prunes or your blueberries or things like that. Some people find it quite, it's got an acquired taste, you could say. So sometimes adding a bit of sweetness like my infused honey in there would be amazing.
The aroma.
Dates, prunes, blueberries, strawberries. Okay, let's go.
Smell the divineness. Yes.
Okay, so if you want like quite a strong hemp milk, then you're going to need to add quite a lot of hemp seeds. If you like kind of a mild nutty one to put on your muesli, then that's, yeah, but yeah, you could add a few macadamians in
If
there.
you're of the nutty kind, then yes.
Perfect. It is quite a nutty flavour though, isn't it? It is. You have to like that flavour.
Do some people pre-roast their nuts to get that extra flavour at all?
Well, yeah, you could soak them.
Oh, we lose the medicinal value, yes.
Not much, a bit in the nutrient, a bit of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
You don't want to take it all. That's good. Healthy, fresh, organic,
I love it.
raw.
Great alternative to cow's milk. Yeah, it's awesome. So, gonna put the lid on.
alright.
I'm gonna put it in the NutriBullet.
Now, can I ask a question? Some people use just natural herbs.
Yeah.
Can you do that as well? Just add
Yeah, you could add a bit of
leaf.
Do you want to add a
rosemary.
little bit of spirulina into it?
Yeah, a bit of spirulina.
cannabis leaf.
Some raw.
Yeah.
Raw.
Raw.
Whole plant.
Yeah.
It's actually whole plant raw.
Whole foods.
So, and we're not heating it, so it's not going to activate anything to a certain level where you can still function.
Cannabis leaf.
It's whole plant. Whole plant. Best. It's the entourage effect in a cup.
I like entourage.
The entourage feeling. Alright,
Right.
so we do this.
So exciting.
It's a good idea to put that pinch of salt.
Our esteemed member of the audience has suggested a pinch of salt.
Magic salt. Done.
Himalayan crystals, nonetheless.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Prepared earlier.
Magical crystal powder.
Oh. Feel the power.
You get it, you give it a shake and you just do it.
Yeah, just hold it with love. Yeah.
The intention's there.
Yeah. Nourishment.
And what sort of consistency are you after?
You want like a thick, almost creamy.
Like a froth? Does it get frothy?
Frothy. Frothy.
Do you drink hemp milk every day?
No. I don't. If I had a house, I would.
Yeah. Right, we might have a look at what stage that's at now.
Let's
You want like the bubbles on top?
Oh, I love the bubbles. Oh, it brings me back to the hills of Tibet. Delightful.
So would you say that is done, or would you
Yes.
done that anymore? Froth it?
You could go a little bit more, but it looks pretty good.
Ready is the word.
Done.
Pretty.
So that's it. So I just learned how to make hemp milk.
You can add some honey or dates.
Yeah.
We're going to strain this, but that's exactly right. If you want to sweeten it to it, if you want to flavour it, you add that to it at the very end. Hello, Ingrid.
Add some sweeteners, maca powder, goji berries, natural leaf buds, whatever you like.
I put mine in fruit smoothies. Like I usually do, not the hemp milk, but I make smoothies out of whole plant, and I put them in cubes. And then I put that into smoothies, so it's high in CBG, it's high in all your lower things that you miss out on if you don't get it at the beginning. So There we go. Who wants to see? This honey's still got a little bit to go. Anyone got any questions? Because I'm hoping it'll be okay.
Now, has this got sweetener in it?
No, it doesn't. It's just got whole plant.
All right.
I can put some honey.
Can you just put a bit of amrita in my little hand?
No, well, I
the
was
nectar?
thinking I can get this and rinse out and pour it in there for you.
Oh, okay. And I'll have a sample.
If everyone's keen to try it, after the demonstration I can go and look for little cups and I can hand out little flavours.
Yes. Or we can put a drop in our hand.
Corona. I actually got my Corona certificate, so that's not possible. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of honey into that too.
There, put a drop in there.
You can have that
Oh,
cup.
can I?
That's
Oh.
for you.
Okay, watch this. No tongues. This is how they do it in India. I'm telling you, it's brilliant. Without the dribbling, of course. I'm not Indian, so I haven't perfected that. I was impressed though. Look, that's very nice. A wholesome flavour. Grainy and earthy, but lovely. I feel healthy.
Alright, so there's a bit of sweet in there now. I was just wondering, Francis, I might go for a walk while the machine's finishing if you want to answer questions, because I can get some little cups for everybody to try.
Oh, really? I'm going to do the next day. What do you want? What do you got?
It's so simple. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, what is in there? What is in there?
Hemp seeds?
Like in the cooker
Okay, we're making honey, infused honey.
with
Herbs.
juice with
Herbs,
Spirulina.
yes. Oh, but you can put all your herbs in here. For legal purposes, we have to say spirulina. You will never know.
special spirit.
Covered.
And there are buds of love, because we're all buddies.
But it's actually whole plant and it's not, there's nothing that can actually get you high unless you heat this. So it's just purely so much goodness.
Was that fresh? Fresh.
Dried and grounded. But if you put it straight in the freezer, it locks all those first, like it's high in CBG. It's amazing. CBG is CBG is something I want to talk a lot about, but I don't have enough time.
CBG?
CBG. It's something that, so I, through raw cannabis, I had a cavity, I had a bleeding cavity on my lungs. And it was 21 millimeters. They wanted to cut my lung out. We didn't know what it was, thought it was cancer. It wasn't cancer. It ended up being 2 separate fungal infections and a superbug. So raw cannabis is really important to me because we don't learn enough about it. We don't understand enough about it, but no one has access. That's the most important part. No one has access to raw. We should be able to grow it as a vegetable and eat it from birth, because if we fed our endocannabinoid systems from birth, we wouldn't have diseases. We wouldn't have all these issues. So I found, I used a high FICO. I took cannabis oil.
What's a FICO?
FICO is full extract cannabis oil. Okay, so I used that. I used it. You've got all different sort of programs. I did a 60 grams in 90-day program. So I attacked it like a cancer. So I shrank
60 grams of what?
of full extract cannabis oil.
Oh my gosh.
So
60
yes.
grams in how long?
In 90 days, but you build a tolerance, you get to that level, and by the time you're treating it's so basically I shrunk my cavity from 21 millimeters to 11 millimeters in 4 to 6 weeks with the full extract cannabis oil. Raw was a huge part, but it wasn't until I had 11 millimeters of scar tissue left on my lungs. They told me that wouldn't go. Raw cannabis, and I doubled the full extract cannabis oil for 2 weeks. All I did was raw cannabis, whole plant, nothing heated. 11 millimeters of scar tissue off my lungs. Still not been able to be done.
Let's go.
Sorry? Sorry, ladies?
No, because it's raw. You haven't activated any of the cannabinoids, so it's literally really high in THCA, really high in CBG. It's before you lose all that once you heat it. If you don't freeze it from the start, you lose it. Once it gets air, once it gets light, it's gone. So that very, very first compound, we lose. And it's really important because no one's allowed raw. Raw is really important.
But I would like to make a comment.
Yeah?
When THC breaks down, I believe, and correct me, it breaks down into CBG.
No.
Or
CBG is
which
the
one?
first compound. Starts at CBG.
CBG is in a raw state only.
Yeah, but when it
Once
breaks
we make
down.
it into
Everything changes that. You need
everything
to get
changes
from the
CBG.
THC goes to
CBN, okay. So there's always nutritional value in the plant.
So THC will take your REM sleep away. CBN will
Sean,
bring it
come
back
up and talk.
Okay, I'm just repeating.
Ask a question.
So THC, as we
It's not
know,
a medical show.
takes away your dreams away. CBN gives you dreams.
It gives you REM sleep back.
Couch lock. If you really want that total thing, so if I, for this honey, if I wanted it to be stronger, I would have activated it. I would have decarbed first, put it in here, I would have turned it to a CBN, and then you'd be totally couch locked, but it's good for pain, it's good for really strong painkillers, sleep, those sort of things.
So we've done sleep tests with my clients, on the computer and stuff, and it shows that CBN is giving them that REM sleep.
Right.
So yeah, starting to dream again.
So the gentleman's saying that
But not everybody likes to get high. Getting high and getting healed can be the same or totally different.
CBN's not the
Yeah.
same as THC, it's not as
It
high.
won't
it's more
heal
sleep.
So
as much as THC.
So is CBN psychotropic as opposed to essentially
It's a
psychoactive?
sedative.
well, everything affects the mind and the body, but it's more of a sedative.
This
yes.
isn't a medical talk.
No,
It's
it
not a
isn't
medical talk, so we
but-
won't get too fixed
But
on that. But
basically, my whole point of smoothies is raw cannabis and hemp seeds and these sort of things need to come out. We need to
Yes.
talk more about raw because we're all worried about getting stoned in the corner or
Yes.
doing this or we wouldn't need it if we ate it from birth. Pregnant women having it smoothies every day, their babies would be born with these deficiencies. We wouldn't have endocannabinoid deficiencies. We still have a world that's full of craziness, so everybody has choices, so that's on them. But we have the choice to be better.
so can I leave my raw leaf in the fridge and use it a month
Freezer.
later? Freezer.
Freezer.
Freezer, everybody.
What variety of hemp are you using there?
King G.
What variety of
King
hemp?
G.
King G.
So remember, all cannabis is cannabis.
It's
Yes.
there's
But-
no divisions. That's the problem with the cannabis unit, the whole unity and community. It's one.
So King G is popularity here. It has a slightly higher THC. Okay.
I got in trouble for calling it a strain. It's something else. Yeah, no, I'm just saying I learned that.
So what's happening now next
So we're
here?
just waiting for the butter machine. So we're just taking.
The butter machine does apply some heat,
Yes.
so there is some slight decarboxylation happening.
So basically now we can do this because we're not actually doing the whole thing because we're just going to strain it. We're going to show you how we strain it. Ready?
So the Magic Butter Machine has a very good service. They fix their problems if there's problems. It's got a 1, 2, 4 and an 8-hour function. So if you're cooking with, say, coconut oil, you might want to maximize your absorption, go for 8 hours. If you're using butter and you don't want to overburn it, try 1 hour at a lower temperature. Okay?
This one is my one and this one's ready to strain.
You could put butter in water and boil it and put your cannabis in that as well, and it will soak up into the butter and just let it cool down, put it in the fridge, and obviously the cannabis and the butter will all, hug together, and you just pour out the water.
Is that what you're doing here? Basically what you're doing here?
Sorry, sir?
Is that basically what you're doing here?
Yes, different varieties of cooking. So in this essence, I believe we're heating up and we're gently cooking, and so things will get infused. Absorptions occur.
Put some leaf or bud in there.
Yes. It's got a blender, so it grinds it up as you go along. Gently massages the food. Sorry, carry
It
on.
does everything. The butter machine chops it, cuts
That's
it,
why I said
everything. It's amazing.
Trump should have hugged this when he was on stage. Don't worry about the flag. Magic butter machine. Yes.
When it comes down to bioavailability, the two things that make cannabis the most bioavailable to your body is sugar, which obviously we don't try to use too much of because it fucks you up, and MCT or coconut oil. Right, they're the best two bioavailability blending agents. So it works. It binds with the sugar, and the sugar will take it all through your body. If you're not like dying, it's one of the best ways to get cannabinoids into your body, into every part of your body.
I'm
Do you
not.
put sugar into that as
No, the
Honey.
natural sugar's in the honey.
Put MCT in there.
MCT you can put
You
in,
can
yes.
add MCT to it, but you need to add lecithin because it won't bind otherwise.
To keep it simple, guys, to keep it simple,
We've talked about
my favourite cooking methods are Coconut oil has one of the highest. Okay, alcohol has the highest absorption. Coconut oil has like 96% absorption capacity, and butter. Clarified butter is better than butter, and it has a lesser but also great absorption capacity.
Let's clarify that.
Clarified butter. Yeah, people use hemp seed oil and olive oil and whatever else, wine and meat, but those are lower down the scale.
Alright, we're going to strain some honey.
MCT doesn't have that coconut taste sometimes for the cooking maestros.
So usually this has just been done so it's quite warm. We did it a little bit earlier, but it's still going to be quite hot, so we don't have the gloves and so I'm going to show you how to do it, but basically it's going to be a lot runnier now. When it sets and when it cools it gets thicker, so it's going to look runny now, but it's actually not.
I must say I'm very excited. I can't wait for it to open. What do you think's going to come out, guys?
Oh, it's the best smell.
Oh, dear. Ready? Get ready. Hold your breath. Ah, Mount Kilimanjaro.
So basically that's what it looks like now.
Let's get this started.
Nature's
Does anyone want to
green.
look at what it yeah.
Does anyone want to have a look?
Yes, come on in, come on in.
If we put it in butts, we would have chopped it to this.
This is nature's green.
We actually put it in a bit looser, but it will chop it to that.
Oh, smell the heaven, everybody. Nectar. Nature's nectar. And healthy, isn't it? Oh. Yes. Oh. Yes, little lady here, very good cook. Very good cook, this lady.
I think the magic butter machine's pretty magical. I used to do this without the butter machine, and it can be a lot harder because you do it on a stove, you do it like infusions, things like that, but this is my magic. Okay, let's do it.
Now, what's this bag, ladies?
The magical butter sifter. So it does the straining for you. All you basically have to do, pour, strain. Let's do this.
Any nut milk, any nut.
No, we're doing the honey.
This one's honey.
This is honey.
Oh, any nut bag will do.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Any filter you want to use.
Here's drop.
It is coffee filter. Yeah, just didn't want
By the way, the magic butter machine, just while these ladies are working quietly.
So if everyone watches just for a sec, it's just going to run through the first part.
Oh.
It's a very tedious thing to strain, and I find you get a lot of honey on you, which I actually don't mind because I always use my leftovers.
By the way, can I just say, the Magic Butter Machine package, I'm not selling it, but I'm just excited. They thought of everything. It comes with little green rubber gloves, doesn't it?
Yes, the rubber gloves. The gloves are amazing. I like my hands.
The love glove.
The love glove.
This is going to be a lot greener because normally I don't grind before it goes in here. The machine does that, but because of Mardigrass, we have to do what we have to do. So we've done the grinding earlier.
And this keeps the smells
Which actually get
contained reasonably well too.
spirulina.
If the living close confined filter.
So,
And can you reuse the spirulina and other things?
okay, so this stuff here, I use it for leftovers for edibles. Like I'll use that as an infusion, or the last lot of honey I did, I used the leftovers and infused some oil, cannabis oil. So I had the honey cannabis oil. So because it's and if you use full head and not plant, it's amazing. The whole plant is really good because you don't have to get high kimchi.
Anyone want to
All of
try
the hemp like this.
Yeah.
It's
Well, friends, give you a little taste.
The waste nothing is the more of the story.
I like to
We're
use
really
everything.
hopeful
Okay,
for
so
an
scrub.
Yeah.
You could use the leftovers. You could make a scrub out of it. You can do all sorts of things with everything. Everything has a purpose.
Can I tell you a little secret? It's not quite cooking, but it is cooking. If anyone likes vaping, yeah, do not throw your residue away. Because if you cook it up in a beautiful rice biryani with some vegetables and turmeric, it has a wonderful mild effect. Yes, vaping doesn't expire all your THC.
No, it doesn't.
And the residue here also contains some.
Tea, you can put it in your tea, on your toast, on your edibles.
Oh.
Just with the leftover,
Yes.
you have leftovers
So used for product, or you can restrain that.
So I know what that looks like. It's basically
So there's a cloth if you want.
a moist cut up leaf.
Yeah.
When you say you cook with it, you just stir that into your
It's part of the experience.
I let it sit in my fridge. I put everything in the fridge and I let it sit for a while, and it all breaks down on its own. Turns into like a sludge. So really good for brownies and things like that, because you can use it all.
Isn't all the goodness gone?
No.
No, because this is one infusion. I wouldn't, if you were doing it for medicine or something like that, you would stick to your first strain, but your second strain is still pretty powerful. Third strain can be.
There's still fibre in there. There's still some cannabinoids in there, mate, no doubt about that. You try a samosa, make it with that.
So yeah.
So if you put fresh leaves into your smoothie,
Yes, fresh leaves.
yeah, does it not just fresh leaves?
Yeah.
Does it show in a test?
No, it's not.
Ah, right. Well, look, I'm going to be honest with you. We're living in a police state, okay? But fresh plant is THCA, and it is about 95%. But your bud might have 3% of THC. Let's not depress ourselves with that conversation.
And our endocannabinoid system works with that. That's how it's just amazing.
Yes. I mean, it's depressing because, you know,
Once you
we live in this
THC,
country.
then it turns THCA, it turns
That's
to
why I'm
THC.
thinking
So
that
if
maybe
you,
if you don't heat it up when we just use fresh.
Yes.
yeah, but all it has to do is go in the light or...
You have a better chance of beating the test if you're worried about that. Fresh, but look, I have to say, fresh herbs is an underrated thing in the cannabis community. Seriously is. There's an American cooking show, and I just wish I could show you this, where she opens a fridge and she says, I'm making a cake, and instead of taking icing, she takes out a bottle of white frosty trichomes and she sprinkles them on the cake. I mean, oh, a bit of CBD, a little dash here. She's totally isolated everything. It's just amazing what some people do. It's coming soon. Hey? Oh yes, and she would have a magic butter that she would paste on there. Yes. So what's happening, ladies? I'm coming back to you.
You can strain, or I find if you do a little bit at a time, you can get more out of it.
All right. So the pulp is coming out here.
Yep.
Now
That's not strained really well because it's too hot for me to touch.
That looks like fibre and very good rice dishes, vegetable stews.
Up there. Do you mind pulling that for a sec, please?
And what do you do with your hands when they're all gooey? Do you lick them or
I
wash
do.
No leftovers.
Okay, so I do it in about 3 sections. But as I said, we use really fine stuff. It's not normally this green. But the finer you use, the more you can.
There's wipes there if you want wipes.
So
There.
well, it depends what you want it like. You can. The beautiful thing about these things is you can do your own thing and make it the way you want it. You find your own way. If you like it thick, if you like it strong, you can medicate or you can adjust it to what you need.
Let the plant lead you and guide you in your cooking.
Cannabis is intention. Okay, so basically, that's it. I'm going to put some in a cup if anyone's keen to taste it, but it's not very corona safe. I'm going to put it in the cup and then I'm going to wash that. Is that okay? Is everybody okay with that?
Or you can just...
Dripping good stuff.
Oh, dripping the good stuff, yes. That's for the
I'll
ends.
look that later. Alright, so...
If you could put your hand out like a palm like that, so we can drop in like the Indian temples, Natalie.
Alright.
That won't have any psychological effect on it. That will not, because it has been.
Well, cannabinoids...
Yes, it can because you've still heated it. It's gone to 54 degrees Celsius.
Okay, and
So you've lost your THC.
That's a mild decarb at 54. It's mild.
Yeah, it hasn't activated all that strong, and there's no CBN or anything.
Yes.
It'll give a really relaxing stage, but cannabis, hemp, If you use hemp, you still have a tiny bit of THC, but you've got less THC, so you won't go high.
I think it's good to keep a balance of cannabinoids, don't
Yeah,
you? Rather than
tend
bomb
to do
us
raw
out. We're not
and
bombers.
decarved, or I can do a bit of each, but I tend to throw it all in so you get a bit of everything in it.
But don't forget your terpenes.
Whole plant, that's stem, leaf.
Whole plant.
Yeah.
Bud, yeah.
And I would just like to comment again to you that natural plants, correct me if I'm wrong, have all those other things which you lose when you're puffing and cooking, like terpenes and
It's the
flavonoids.
most amazing part of it. The smells, the things that bring you towards the plant. We lose all that when we cook it. It goes. So keeping it at a raw stage, you get all that.
Get those lemon flavours, the
Keeping it 54
lavender
degrees,
flavours.
you don't lose those.
You don't
Yes.
lose all
You said decarb, you decarb oxidation. Where,
Yes.
What does that do?
Sorry, the question is on decarboxylation, what does it do? Okay. The very short translation is, if you apply heat to anything, you break things down and change things. So THCA, the little A flies up to heaven, and you're left with THC more. But you know, let's have variety. We don't have to all go in one direction. We are having an animals, she's getting excited because we're having an animal medical therapy session coming up soon too, so they've all got a voice.
So we're from THCA to when you decarboxylate it.
The activated, the A, always flies away and you're left with what's THC or CBD.
So, can I ask, why is it better to decarb?
It's not.
Oh, it isn't?
No,
I missed the beginning of
no,
it.
what we're saying is, this is a cooking show, and we want to maximise the full spectrums, am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So let's have a bit of decarboxylation, but not 100%. Have some terpenes, flavonoids in your cooking.
Yeah.
We grew it in our
So
garden.
I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
magic butter machine and I make cookies.
Yes.
But I've always, like I never used to decarb the
Yes.
chemicals. But why?
So
In the book it says to do that.
it's a process that we're rushing basically, because if we were to grow it from our garden, pick it, store it, it goes through all of those natural processes, and then if you get to, I lost my words, cure it,
Yeah.
you cure it. If it's cured properly, if it's set 3 to 6 months, if you've cured that properly, it's done all its decarbing. It does it all naturally, but because we are such a quick world, we need it quick, we have all these ways
And
to
also,
get
if you're at Mardigrass and you're young and you want to get the stoned effect, well then decarboxylate away and have a happy time.
If you want the couch lock go, because you activate to CBN. CBN.
Well, that's better than alcohol, isn't it, sir?
Yes.
Yes, I sleep very well under decarboxylation and it helps with my pain levels and all that. But let's not underestimate the non-decarboxylated plant, the natural herbs. Yeah.
The entourage effect. You need. So if you had a car and you took one part of that engine out, and you didn't want to run it anymore with that engine, it's not going to run. You need every part of that engine. You need every
Flavonoids,
tiny little bit, a touch of everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Does anyone have any questions?
We love questions.
So with the magic bullet, you just used an unadulterated plant that you dried it, and then you
Or
No,
fresh,
it wasn't. It
fresh,
was fresh, straight to the freezer.
fresh.
And then
morning and straight in there.
Yes, we live in Canberra, so we
And
know
I
to
live
grow.
in Queensland,
Yeah.
so.
You blended it into
Yes.
No,
Almond milk. Why don't you blend it in?
clean water.
no, the whole plant is in the honey.
Now I'm talking about the
Hemp seeds. Hemp seeds.
Water.
Sorry, I missed the
No, that's okay. Half a cup of hemp seeds to 500 mils of water, blend, buzz, add your flavourings. You can put infused honey in it, you can put raw, you can put blueberries, dates, anything you choose to flavour it with.
And that's what children like.
Yes.
Yes.
Hemp seeds. Just blended. Isn't it amazing? And I didn't know what I was doing. I just learned and could tell you how to do it. So think about how easy that is.
And if you want to make like a medicinal oil that they sell in the shops kind of thing, you know, that sort of train of thought, then just use MCT oil or coconut oil or
And an
whatever.
extraction machine.
And just put your buds in there and let it do its magic. But we're about cooking, so we're a bit more therapeutic on a wider spectrum.
Yeah,
And
nothing
the raw
happened
phase,
with you.
I'm
I'm not
really-
going to
I'm
cure
also-
that
Yes.
cancer on the butter machine.
No, you're not. You're not going to cure cancer with a butter machine. That's not going to happen.
So that one.
It can be, it's a part of a complete program.
Exactly.
Yes.
An entourage effect. For all
There's no cure for anything in life. You can argue,
But we all have
but we
choices.
try.
Cannabis saves lives, but you also
Yes.
have to take it into your own hands with your
Yes.
health, your exercise. You have to make changes for changes.
Oh, I'm all for change.
So we think a magic, I was one, I used to think a magic pill would fix everything. I was a prescription pill, doctors gave me everything, I'd take anything. That magic fix doesn't happen. You've got to do the work yourself. Take that tablet, go to sleep, wake up the next day, you still got to do the fucking work, don't you?
The magic is in your actions.
That's it.
So the power is in cannabis, but the magic is within you.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, for me, the magic's in a biryani with some ginger and turmeric. I love turmeric because it's a good activator.
Do I
Cocaine.
have the oil for you?
Yes, yes, turmeric
Yeah.
and ginger oil, lovely. So, any more questions? Because we have to wrap it up, guys. We've got another talk coming on.
Yes, sir.
What's the ingredients for the honey though?
A kilo of honey to, say I use 2 ounces of herb, but you could use an ounce, depends on your strength. But you need to add half a tablespoon of water to 500 mils of honey. You need that water in there just to, it says a tablespoon if you read it, but I find it too watery. I've been doing it for a while. I found half a tablespoon per 500 mils perfectly. That's it, it's as easy. We just made honey and hemp milk.
Because we're talking about food,
Yes.
I have to tell you the happiest moment I ever had was a lady, and oh, where is she? But she made the most divine drink out of elderberry. Cannabis with elderberry. The flavours were just
How
fantastic.
did she do it? Was it a blend? Was it a milk?
It was like a mead, an elderberry mead with the cannabis infusion. So you don't always have to go straight to the 100% alcohol whiskey. Yeah, elderberry. You can even put your extracts into it.
Yep. So any questions?
How are we going, guys? Did you enjoy that session? Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.